Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Rush Racing League. We are here for Div1 around the Shanghai International Circuit here in China for another sprint weekend. It is going to be fun times here. Things are a little different. It is going to be one-shot quali here for both. So we're going to just jump straight into things here so we don't miss any of the quali action here. It is an 18 car grid here today, and alongside me tonight, it is the one, the only, my main man Muzz. How you doing tonight, Muzz?
I'm great. I'm great. It'll be interesting because there's no chance for extra laps, so we'll see if mistakes are made.
Yeah, it's pretty much just one and done here for quali, so it's gonna be a one-shot quali. Everybody's gonna go out at the same time. It is going to be pure pandemonium on track. Luckily, they won't be able to run into each other because they'll all be kind of ghosted. You won't even really see any of the other drivers as you're currently racing, so we're not going to really ride on board with any particular driver. Just whatever driver it gives us is who we'll be riding on board with, and that'll be Sick Party. So we'll be riding on board with Sick Party. Mazda, I think he did have a quali ban that he is serving, so he retired from the quali. And one shot quali is a go, and we'll use this as an opportunity to take you around the track. This part of the track, it is a very high degradation through the pinwheel. And oh, Sick Party's actually put a wheel in the grass, so that's going to be a bit of a tough one. He already lost a good amount of time from that coming through sector 1. Now coming into turn 5. This track is going to be very heavy when it comes to tire degradation. We saw some of it in the reserve program the other night. It's not as tough as some tracks like Barcelona or Qatar, but it is still going to be a very high deg circuit here when it comes to tire wear. So you'll probably see a good amount of mediums when it comes to the sprint. And oh, actually Mazda did not have a qualifying ban, so unsure why he actually did not finish the session there. But anyways, we do have the driver coming through the turn 13 bend and now just making a good run down this long straight, down the long back straight. And he's going to try, and Webber has been disconnected from the session. Hopefully we'll be able to get him back in as Sick Party makes his way through turn 14. Fat Cat looking likely to get sprint pole here, and oh, he actually drops way down. So it is going to be McJammy getting sprint pole here. Pop Top a very nice P2, Jonno P3, Ryan P4, Aiden is rated P5, and this is set to be a very, very interesting sprint here, Muzz.
Yeah, absolutely. It's can be bad for some drivers who take a while to warm up to get their quickest laps in. So yeah, it will be interesting to see what kind of changes happen in the race. Obviously, there is a sprint, so not many opportunities for overtakes, but those drivers who are probably a little bit quicker that couldn't put a lap together possibly could be ones to watch.
Yeah, exactly. As we kind of run through our field here, we talked about top 5, then there's Flubber, Dito, Andre, Watanabe, Gangster, Coda, Vettel, Symphonic, Sick Party, Webber, Connor, and then the two Haas drivers in P17 to P18. One did some time, and the other got a track limit violation. Probably, if I'm were a betting man, I'd say that was probably right around turn 16. A very easy corner to invalidate. So easy to either take the corner too tight or just cut it a bit wide. Any predictions on what tire is going to be used here in the sprint, Muzz? Because I'm honestly thinking it's probably going to be mediums across the board.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty safe bet. But maybe some of those drivers that can go on the Goodwood tyre wear could go the softs. But it'll be we'll see in just a few seconds.
Yeah, we're ready about to jump into sprint racing action. It is going to be one shot quality for this and the feature race, so it's going to be nice and rapid during qualifying, and then we're just going to jump straight into the action. So it should be a high velocity, fast paced night here tonight. especially around the Shanghai International Circuit. And Muzz, I'll actually let you take away the sprint start.
All right, no worries.
Once we get loaded in, drivers are trying to finalize their setups, finalize their strats. Just before we go ahead and get into things, should be an interesting night. Championship leader is currently P5, and here you go.
Here we go. We've got lights on, and it's lights out, and away we go. Who is gonna get the better start from the front row? It looks like it was the Mercedes, a pop-top bongo, and he will lead into turn one, but oh, he spins.
Oh,
He
contact.
spins. The Red Bull holds onto the lead, hangs around the outside. There might have been contact there between those two, but Ryan getting up ahead and ahead of Jonno. So that was a good start from him. The Ferraris in P2 and P3. The Red Bull of Mick Jammy has pulled away. Oh, more contact again. I think that was. Oh, was that Pop Top Bongo again, or was that Flubber that time?
No, that was Pop Top because he's now jumped down to P13.
No, that was Pop Top Bongo again. Two half spins for him in less than half a lap, and onto the very fast middle section now. Oh, one time with a 10-second penalty for a cutting corner, so pretty severe cutting corner penalty there. But dream start for Ferrari in the sprint. Well, what do you think, Rekus?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I did accidentally say that Jonno was P5. No, he was P3 at the start of this. But yeah, Jonno really doing what he needs to do at the moment. We'll actually take a look at the tires to see what everybody's running. So actually, it's kind of mixed. It's more mixed than I was anticipating. You got a few drivers running the hard tires. As now Connor is actually making his way down the order. He's trying to fight it out with Sick Party, the driver we were on board for sprint quality, as McJamie sets the fastest lap of the sprint. And now we're gonna see how these guys do battle. There's some really good spots to get some good slipstreams on this track. You got the exit of turn 13 all the way to turn 14, and then the turn 16 to 1. Code is in the pits. He had to get a front wing change, so that's a very rough one. He's actually transitioned to the soft tires now, and trying to make up that pace differential. The soft tires can work magic around this track. We'll just see if he can start at least trying to make progress to catch up to the back of the pack. It's going to be tricky, especially because it is a sprint and nobody else has to really pit unless they get severe damage. The two Ferraris chasing down the Red Bull. The Red Bull hoping to use its wings to really run away with this one. As we see, it's pretty much a DRS train from P1 all the way down to P6. Flubber trying to put some pressure on to Dito, and it's so hard to follow through sectors, through sector 2. Sector 3, it's pretty easy to kind of really fly through because it's mostly just DRS straights, really. So Flubber now really trying to close it in, and actually Ryan Adair getting really close to the Red Bull. Might be able to make a move if he can get a good exit off a turn 15. And we will see. He's going to go ahead and turn on the DRS. Trying to make his way through. Getting on the really dusty sim racing line. As Jonno now has the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's going to close in the gap, but still tucked in right behind, right in the dirty air as they go through the pinwheel. And make their way back onto the rest of Sector 1. Still a really good start for Ferrari. They're looking very, very strong here tonight as we see the Mercedes and Pop Top trying a bit of resurgence here. Getting past Sick Party for P12.
Yeah, I wonder if Ryan might make the team play, and if he can't get past McJamie in a few laps, he might let Jonno through to see if Jonno can have a chance. Obviously, Jonno, the championship leader. And also, I did see that Andre, the Williams of Andre, does not have a left front wing end plate. So, especially through that Sector 2, that fast Sector 2, he's going to be on the back foot, particularly there. But yeah, it's really close throughout the whole field, basically the whole field in a DRS train. So, positions up for grabs all over the place.
Exactly that, yeah, and that's what you love to see. You love to see positions being up for grabs at every level, up and down the field as Ryan goes for another move, but just once again he just runs out of room. He runs out of runway and just is not able to take off into the lead here. As now he is still going to continue to try to chase down McJammy here. Looking one way, looking another, but it's so difficult sometimes to line up these passes. On this Shanghai International Circuit, you really only got like 2, maybe 3 good spots for overtakes. Although we did see some pretty creative overtakes in the reserve program race a couple of nights ago. So maybe, but also some drivers may not just want to burn out their tires too early because you still have a good amount of the sprint race left to go, and then you get another one-shot quali. Fat Cat now making his way through the field. He is past Watanabe and Haas. We'll take a look at the position changes. He's up 11 positions, so Fat Cat's definitely got some real pace here tonight. He's actually under pressure as we do have a yellow flag. I'm not too sure what that was for, to be honest. Andre is still trying to fight sick part here for P15. And now it's actually going to be 3 wide here right at the back. And ooh, that's a very aggressive cut there from the Williams to get that move done and dusted. As we still see quite a few drivers fighting out. There's the team swap. It is going to be Jonno now who's going to be putting on the pressure on to McJammy. And now we got to remember that Jonno has won every single Grand Prix that he has competed in. He missed out on one round here not too long ago. I believe it was Singapore he missed out on, but then returned to winning race in Las Vegas. So we'll see if he can keep the streak going here tonight.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just Ryan's tires starting to fall off because Jonno's on the hards. So the closer they get to the end, the better tire advantage Jonno will have over McJammy and over Ryan as well. So, but that will mean that he is a set of hards down in the race, which, like we mentioned before, quite high tire wear on this track, so he might need those hards. But we'll see what kind of strategy he goes for in the Grand Prix. Obviously, he'll be down a set of hards now, but he's looking like he is threatening on McJammy Dodge here.
Jonno has been so dominant here this season. He has only missed out on the top step twice. He missed out on the top step in the Bahrain sprint and also in the Singapore race where he wasn't here, where he wasn't present. And we're going to see, and yep, there's the pass for the lead. Jonno up in the P1. Jamie looking to make a move, try to retake the position, but there is no room in the end. He's going to give it another go, but he's really going to have to try to fight. Someone else who's going to be really trying to fight right there in P4. Aiden Raiden is kind of having a quiet sprint, but still a good one. McJammy now trying to make the move. Ooh, this is going to be tight. They're going up the inside of the pinwheel. And Jonno's going to hold on to that position. You can make overtakes going into the pinwheel, but it is so tricky to do so. You got to really line it up absolutely perfectly and get the right send. You either got to hold it on around the outside to try to hold on for the second part of the hairpin or pinwheel, or just lock it in for the first part. So, because, I mean, with that pinwheel, inside becomes outside really quickly. So either send it up the inside at the beginning or send it around the outside and wait for it to become the inside later on. And also, have we sent Chandler's an invite?
He needs to add me. I don't have him added, so he needs to add me.
Alright, well go ahead and add Muzz when you can, Chandler's, and we'll try to get you in as Coda has retired from the session. He'll retire in the pit, so that is no issue whatsoever, no drama. No rule breaks there. You're allowed to retire in the pits. You're just not allowed to retire on track. as now McJammy is going to go ahead and try to go ahead and line up another pass, but those tires that Jonno are on are seeming to work exceptionally well. But a little bit further back, we do have some battles here. Down in P13, we do have Mazda trying to really fight it out here with Webba, and actually it's a pretty nice gaggle here down here in the trenches, essentially down about P13, P14. Webba trying to go ahead and make a move here in the Aston Martin, trying to put that green machine one step higher, trying to go ahead and close in to the Haas of Mazda, as Pop Top Bongo is trying to go ahead and do the same with Vettel. Vettel's trying to do the same on Gangster. Vettel trying to line up a move into the Alpine. He waited for it, and he takes the tight inside, trying to make it stick, but can he get it to do so? The answer is no, not quite, and Pop Top is pretty much still right there, ready to punch it in that silver arrow, trying to make sure that that silver arrow is flying true, as Pop Top now tries to close it in on Vettel. He's got a few good straight opportunities to try to at least close in the gap here, as we are down to soon to be the final 3 laps of the Chinese sprint. Aiden is ready now, looking to really start putting pressure on to Ryan, and he gets to move the V-Curve driver up into P13, and he is going to go ahead and continue to turn up the heat and try to get closer to our top 2, as we see McJammy now going to try to close in the gap onto Jonno, but I think now Jonno is definitely going to have that massive tire advantage at this stage. So I think Jonno, as long as Jonno doesn't get himself a penalty, he can really just run away with this run.
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously, it needs to break that important a DRS gap, which is 1 second, and Jamie looks like he's staying pretty well with him. But I know we've talked about that snail section of turn 1, 2, and 3. It can be another reason why it's difficult to stay side by side and make overtakes there, is because if you just drift even slightly wide, you can lose many tenths in just that first corner, and if it's a quality lap, it can ruin your lap without it realistically starting. Or if you're trying to stay close behind the driver, it can even drop you down positions. So it's really important to get that section right, otherwise your lap can get screwed up pretty easily.
Yeah, especially with it being one-shot quali here tonight. I mean, that qualifying is going to be so important. And I mean, you make one mistake, and you're starting from P18. We saw it with Fat Cat, who has actually made his way up into the top 5 now. He is currently in P5, trying to put pressure onto Ryan now, trying to close it in. He's got a little bit of work to do, and he's got about 2 laps to do it, as now Fat Cat is going to really try to turn on the afterburners in the American machine in that VF25, and he's going to try. Oh, we see a potential, because Ryan goes wide, Fat Cat hugs the inside, and he's going to go ahead and try. He's going to look for any kind of gap. He's going to have to make Ryan really just start driving in his mirrors, trying to find any sort of gap, trying to pressure him into a mistake. I mean, he's also on those 8-lap-old medium tires, so there's still a lot of, I mean, there's no real tire advantage here unless Fat Cat has been nicer to his tires, which, considering that he started in P18 and made his way up to P5, I don't think that's definitely been the case. But now it is time. We're about to witness the final lap of the Chinese sprint race, as McJammy is still trying to put pressure on. They have both broken the DRS range from Aiden. Aiden looking pretty likely to lock in that P3 here in the sprint. Some good points coming the way of the V-Carb driver, who has kind of really had an up and down season here this season.
Yeah, they've been struggling for some consistency, but Aiden looked like he's having a good race right now. All that Well, Fat Cat just got past Ryan, so up in P4 for him now. We're just trying to hold Ryan and Flubber off because Flubber is on the hard tyres. So we'll have the tyre advantage going into this last lap. And McJammy staying with Jonno as well. Oh, here we go. Ryan and Flubber side by side. And Flubber gets through. Important move for him, and he might not be done just yet.
Yeah, exactly. He's got that hard tire come out, so he is going to be pretty rapid coming through. So, I mean, he is definitely got the tire advantage on both Ryan and Flubber. Or, sorry, Ryan and Fat Cat. So, he is definitely going to have a really good shot here of trying to make moves happen. That hard tire is going to be the more optimal tire at this stage. But up at the front, we are most certainly going to have a pretty massive drag race here between the Ferrari and between McJammy to see who is going to go ahead and win out of this battle. But, oh, he's broken DRS range from McJammy, so this might be crucial. I don't think he quite got that detection zone. He did not, so he did not break that detection zone. So McJammy is going to close in back right in. And they've also passed another detection zone, so it's going to be pretty much just a straight line duel between these two. But Jonno's got enough real estate in between, and Jonno will win the Chinese sprint race. He gets another victory to add to his already impressive tally, and Jonno winning the sprint, McJammy P2, and Aiden is rated P3 as Watanabe gets that 10-second penalty. I've also come to think of it, I've never really seen a 10-second pen for a corner cut before, at least for that. That's a bit of a new one, but yeah, it really hurt a sprint race here tonight.
Yeah, I was just watching that final straight with that fight with Flubber and Ryan and Fat Cat and those guys, and Fat Cat just had absolutely incredible car placement to hold off Flubber because Flubber had DRS and couldn't get by because Fat Cat with some amazing defense.
Exactly that. So we're going to run through our sprint results here real quick. It is Jonno ahead of McJammy, Aiden is rated Fat Cat, Flubber, Ryan Adair, Dito, Connor, Gangster, Vettel, Popped Up Bongo, who had a really rough start to the sprint, and then it is Mazza, Webba, Symphonic, Andre, Watanabe, Sick Party, and then the only retirement of the sprint, Coda. So, unfortunate there for Coda. We know he's got some pretty solid pace to at least contend in the midfield, but he just had damage after damage, and I mean, especially on the sprint, you just kind of learn to call time on it. So here we are, we're loading in for another one-shot quali here for the feature, and this time, once we get loaded in, I'll go ahead and let you take away a lap around this track, Muzz. But in the meantime, a very good sprint race, very good performance from Jonno. Fat Cat's definitely also having a really solid performance. So, but taking a look at the driver standings, it is not even close. Jonno, 137 points. Pop Top, who's currently P2, which is really good for a rookie season. He's only got 97.
Yeah, he's been keeping it consistent, and obviously, and Jonno's looking like he's pretty hard to beat this season. So, you know, if everything goes his way, if Pop Tops is keeping it consistent, then he can maybe put his name in there if stuff goes his way.
So here's a bit of a fun fact that I'll talk about after the quali lap, and actually we're gonna ride on board with Jonno, and if we can, I know it's difficult. Actually, we're just gonna ride on board with Coda. But yeah, here you go. I'll let you take away the rest of the lap.
Hold on, I'm just trying to find him. But he is on the back foot because he had the DNF in the race, so we'll see how that affects his confidence. But through the hairpin now, obviously an iconic overtake for I think it was Daniel Ricciardo and Valtteri Bottas. hopefully see some of that in the race. But through the technical sector 2, looking pretty tidy for Coda here. Looking like he's around the P10 kind of range right now. So we'll see if he can get a good exit onto the main straight, because this is the most important part. So if you go slow here, then you will not have a very good lap. Seems to have done it pretty solidly. Now this is just a very long straight. I know that myself, I get a bit bored sometimes on that straight because that's how long it is. On to the final couple of corners. It's looked pretty tidy, but the lap time not reflecting, relating to the other drivers. And he will be P14, so not the best, but it could have been a lot worse than that.
All right, and yeah, so Fat Cat now, when he actually hooked it up, he was able to get into pole position, followed by McJeremy, Pop Top, Jonno, Dito, Wanton AB, Anus, Raiden, Flubber, Symphonic having a better go of it in this session, reserving in tonight. And then there's Andre, Connor, Gangster, Sick Party, Coda, Webba, Vettel, Ryan Adair, Chandlers, and Mazza just getting invalidations, which has put them at the back of the grid. So it's going to be an interesting Grand Prix here tonight. It's a bit of a different one because I feel like we've been at short quality almost the entire season, short quality almost the entire season. Now it's just a one shot, which I don't mind the one shot. I think it can be really fun at times, and I wouldn't mind seeing it as like a regular thing for the sprints. The sprints are all about fast-paced action, as those clouds do not look super friendly. Maybe
No, they
potential
don't.
rain coming in. But the one fact I was going to state earlier is, with the exception of Mercedes, if Jonno were to, at least taking a look at the point standings, if Jonno were just a solo constructor, he would be in P2 in the Constructors' Championship just by himself. He's got 137 points. He would only be behind Mercedes with 150, and then he would be ahead of literally every other team. The next closest team of Sauber has 119. So that just goes to show you how absolutely dominant Jonno has been. So
That's a bit like the Max Verstappen season where he wins the constructors by himself. In that 2023, I think it was.
yeah, where he won 19 out of 22 possible Grand Prix. But here we go. Speaking of Grand Prix, we got the Chinese Grand Prix getting underway. There's 5 red lights are on, and it's lights out, and away we go here in Shanghai. And Fat Cat gets a really good launch off the line. Jonno getting one on the pop top, trying to shuffle their way through. Here it is so difficult to try to shuffle your way through this hairpin, this pinwheel, and also pinwheel snail, whatever you like to call it. And now making their way down into the very tight hairpin. Gonna see some other drivers really shaking for moves. Flubber gets one onto Dito. Gangster getting a few himself in the Red Bull. A few drivers swapping positions here and there. Some really aggressive stuff here in this mid-pack. Connor now trying to go ahead and look for any kind of purchase, any kind of gap he's going to try to find. He locks wheels a bit with Symphonic, and they're going to duke it out for position. A bunch of moves being made around, and Jonno's up into P2. And something must have happened. Oh, there's a big carnage there in the midfield. Vettel drops all the way down to P19. The Alpine losing some definite bodywork right there. Webber now trying to get a move on the Gangster here for P17. Really trying to fight it out here as we make our way back towards the front. Aina's Raiden and Dito swapping positions here. They're both going to continue to fight it out as we get to lap 2. Out of 28 for the Grand Prix, Fat Cat does go ahead and set the fastest lap, but he's under so much pressure from the reigning champion and championship leader. And that is going to be absolute carnage. And oh, just look how tight these guys are fighting. Inside becomes the outside and vice versa coming through the pinwheel. And Jonno is putting on some mighty strong pressure in the opening laps.
Yeah, McLaren had to do a double stack, and they're both changing their front wing as well, so even worse. So they're gonna come out behind Mozza, who has a bit of a slide out of the pit lane. But yeah, for those three, not the ideal first lap for them.
And McLaren's had a bit of a rough season overall, haven't they? I mean, they were last season they were even contenders to win the overalls at one stage, but now it has just been a very rough season. They are currently down at the bottom of the table, but they can overtake Haas because it is pretty close between the two. Haas has 311, McLaren 302, and I can definitely tell you that Fat Cat is really helping out this Haas team right now, starting the week off with a potential podium at the bare minimum. As now him and Jonno are going to go ahead and try to scrap for these positions. McJammy trying to insert himself right into the mix, trying to jam himself into that P2. And he is going to go ahead and try to trail in. He's been pretty quick on the night as well. He's going to get, oh, is he going to get two for the price of one? Yes, he is. Red Bull gives you wings, and those wings give him two positions, but he might lose one back out to Jonno. We'll see here, and he does end up losing one of those positions back to Jonno. But that was a very, very strong overtake attempt. He got one, but now he's going to try to get the other again, sending it around the outside of turn 5. It's going to be, oh, bit of contact, bumping him, sending him wide. And now he's going to go ahead and fight. Oh, even another bump there from Fat Cat. Fat Cat a little too fat there for McJammy, and actually now we're seeing that Pop Top just goes and slides on through. Pop Top trying to have a much better feature race considering he had a really rough go in the sprint. But with all these guys fighting it out tooth and nail, Jonno is going to continue to run away with this one and start to build that gap.
Yeah, that was incredible. Respect from Jammy, Fat Cat, and Jonno into turn 1. Going 3 wide through that fast of a turn 1 is pretty scary, and it was amazing how they didn't make contact, at least for that part of the corner. But yeah, it looked like Jammy was going to take 2, but he ends up only getting 1, and then ends up losing out completely, dropping down to P4, but he is still in the mix with those top guys, and actually everyone all the way down to P13 it is in a Ferrari sandwich.
Yeah, and also a majority of them are in the DRS train as well, so we're going to see a lot of speed coming through, and it's pretty much almost everybody from P1 to P8 is all on a medium tire. So, I mean, they're all going to be on that same tire, so the pace is going to be pretty dang similar for these guys here. As Watanabe and Chandler's goes in and makes a move and a bit of contact. Chandler's has to go deep, and he had a little bit of contact, I think, with Watanabe there, as these two are going to go ahead and fight it out. Jumping back up to the top, Pop Top Bongo is going to go ahead and try to rectify the mistakes he made during the sprint, and he's going to go and try to get a lot of points for Mercedes. Last week, Mercedes did overtake Ferrari for P3 in the overalls, and they're going to continue to try to build on top of that here tonight to try to extend the gap to Ferrari. But it is pretty difficult when you have Jonno leading the field, looking likely to take another Grand Prix victory. It's going to be 6 Grand Prix victories in 7 attempts, or in 7 races. And he is still going to be practically undefeated in every single event that he has taken part of, with the exception of the Bahrain Sprint. And so now, Pop Top's still really trying to chase down here. Jammy, though, isn't too far behind, so Pop Top's really Gotta watch his mirrors here because we know McJammy is gonna try to fire it up around the outside of the pinwheel. And he's gonna do it. Ooh, it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight. Outside becomes the inside. Patience is a virtue, and that virtue can bring you up into P3 in McJammy's case. But when it's not quite over yet, still side by side. Good amount of respect, good amount of room, and oh, what a position for Fat Cat to be in. He has to decide which of the drivers he wants to try to defend. He'll hold both of them off because the track does get pretty narrow right around that turn 5. But that was good respect, good clean racing from the top 3, or pretty much 3 out of the top 4, just putting on some really good battles. As Coda's retired in the pits again, so not his night here tonight. And that is absolute insanity. Fighting through his Aiden is Raiden, and Chandler is going to go wheel to wheel now. Coming through turn 13, and they're going to absolutely just keep everything. They're going to keep things interesting for us, and they're not making it easy for themselves or anybody for that matter. But that's what you love to see. You love to see good, hard, clean racing. And for the most part, that's exactly what we're getting here in Shanghai.
Yeah, it seems like there's side-by-side battles everywhere. These top 4, they're all fighting for position as well. And yeah, Fat Cat nearly got ran into the back of, into the hairpin.
Oh, yeah.
At the start of Sector 2. We've got Symphonic jumping into the pits, but you can just see all of those top guys. They're just all so close, all the way down to P12. They're all in a train, and we've seen fights going on there, but people ahead not being able to pull away because they've got a car right in front of them. So getting dirty air, especially through this section here. It's difficult to stay close through here, and you can lose grip with the dirty air. But Pop Top Bongo is looking pretty threatening right now.
Yeah, Pop Top's definitely got a fire in his eye right now as he is going to try to make any kind of move here in this race. He's not going to sugarcoat it. He knows he did not have the best of sprint races, and he wants to try to make amends where he can, and he is going to just push with every singular fiber of his being and try to continue racing on here and try to make Mercedes proud, make H-Town proud. The Mercedes TP is now they're going to go at 5, but oh, look at Chandler's going out and getting a little punchy there in the Alpine. He's had a really strong night here tonight. He's up in a P4. He got both Mercedes in one foul swoop. Oh, that's a very big wiggle there for Pop Top. And he's going to just tumble down the order, down in now into P9 for the Mercedes man, and now P10 as Ryan gets past. So we're going to take a look at some positional changes here. And Chandler's is the 14 positions. He is on a Fat Cat type run here in the Alpine, and you'll love to see it. The current constructors, current overall championship leaders making some very good progress here tonight. Absolute cinema that we're seeing here tonight, Shanghai.
Yeah, it's getting really spicy because it's just looking like everyone's just not giving anybody around them a chance to pull away or to go for an overtake. But and Chandler's made, I think it was a double overtake on Pop Top and Aiden going into that final hairpin. So incredible for him, and obviously he didn't do the sprint, so maybe just made a few last minute changes that looking like they're working out well, because he has been threatening so far on probably not the best tires to be on at that point, but he's on the hard, so he will start to be gaining on the cars ahead and maybe looking to get even more threatening than he already is.
Yeah, it can be really difficult to follow on this track sometimes, especially with this current gen of car, where it just basically, you get a massive wake coming from the ground effects. as now Chandler's is going to try to keep things close. He wants to keep these guys in his front view, obviously. He wants to keep them within his line of sight. He doesn't want these guys to start kind of running away because he did go a bit deep into turn 14 the lap prior. And he's also missing an end plate as well. He's missing a left end plate on his front wing. So that's making this hard charge even all the more impressive. As now Watanabe and Ryan Adair will swap positions. Ryan Adair and Dito, former teammates, they used to both race for Williams back in the day, and now we see Ryan and Dito, both TPs of their respective teams here tonight, going out of here. Ryan taking a page out of Jonno's book and opting to start on the hard tires. He knows the hards started to get extremely quick around this point during the sprint, and he's looking pretty punchy now. Chandler's, though, still looking very, very strong here in the Alpine. He's going to fight the dirty air coming through turn number 13 here. He's going to go and still have DRS range, so he'll at least make his presence known in the rear view mirrors of Jammy. He's going to try to close it in, shaking for a move, trying to get a little bit of clear air. Oh, and a bit of a tap, and now he's lost the other end plate. Jamie, I think, stopped a bit sooner than he was anticipating, and Chandler's now down both end plates. And yeah, he's coming to the pits. He's got to get that fixed. You can maybe survive around here with one end plate, but you definitely do not want to lose both.
Absolutely not, because we saw, I think it was Charles Leclerc in the real race here last year. He survived on one end plate and actually looked quicker on one end plate. But yeah, as soon as you lose two, that's just too much downforce that you're losing. So good decision to pit, but maybe not the best. Obviously not the best, but he was on the hard tires, so having to get off those hard tires earlier than he would have wanted to. But we'll see what kind of pace he's got on the mediums.
I can imagine it's going to be pretty punchy, to say the least. I mean... Oh!
McJammy's in the wall.
Oh no! McJammy in the wall, you say, and sure enough, there he is. And mistakes they're a part of racing. Somebody was going to have to make a mistake. Something was going to have to give, and unfortunately it was McJammy who has lost a significant portion of his front wing, particularly on the right side there. And I think Connor might be also having a tad bit of an issue. There is a yellow in sector 2, which I believe was for the McLaren, but that has been changed. Jonno and Fat Cat scrapping it out now for P1 as Jonno does take the lead. Yeah, he's going to try to fight for it. And now it is the two longtime rivals duking it out here, coming through the pinwheel. Fighting, side by side. Inside becomes the outside. Who's going to go in to win this battle out? It's going to be close. Fat Cat does win it out here in the end, but Jonno's going to try to keep his nose up the inside, but if he backs out of it, he waits for another opportunity, and he is still going to just tuck right on in behind the Haas. Very good stuff. Will the streak be broken here tonight? We'll just have to go ahead and find out. It is going to be tough battling here for Jonno. And he doesn't want to burn up too much of those mediums, although Aiden is out of DRS range. Flubber is also looking like he's going to potentially start to trouble the top three. Ryan Adair up some positions as well. We'll see who all has made pit stops, because I believe it is just... Yeah, I think it's mostly just people who've got damaged. There's a few guys a bit further on towards the back that have taken their pit stops already, but pretty much anybody from P12 to P1 has not made a pit stop. And I can see why. It's kind of early to try to jump onto a different tire this stage, as Jonno shakes for a move. There isn't one there, but Fat Cat is definitely not going to make things easy. He's going to hold on tooth and claw, trying to keep that position away from the championship leader. But we know how strong the DRS can be around this track, and we know how strong Jonno can be around, well, just about any track, really.
Yeah, he's pretty unstoppable, but We have seen a few times actually. He has been having some pretty good battles with Fat Cat. Obviously, Bahrain comes to mind, where those two won both of those races, and they were fighting basically the whole race. And it's looking like it might be that happening again. Because Jonno's looked pretty quick, but Fat Cat obviously had a good sprint to come back up from where he started, and now ahead of Jonno. So we'll see if Jonno can hold on, or if Fat Cat's gonna start pushing a little bit more to break that DRS.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword here when it comes to trying to push. Because on one hand, yes, you do break that DRS range from Jonno, and Jonno won't be pretty much constantly in your rearview mirrors and pretty much up your diffuser. But at the same time, you really burn out those tires, you burn out those mediums, and you have to pit in a bit earlier than you might have wanted to, which will lead to your hard tires being a bit worn towards the end. But I mean, it is racing. Anything can happen. A safety car can really change the whole dynamic of the race. A VSC can really also shake things up. So lots of factors can shake up the race. As now actually have Fat Cat and Jonno both making their way into the pits. Ryan now going to go ahead and get past. He will be the race leader at the moment. He's on the hard tire, so he can go a bit longer. So he could probably get to, I'm probably going to say about a lap 15, maybe 16 before jumping onto the mediums is what I'm going to assume. Maybe a bit sooner. Maybe even a bit later, because we saw that those mediums really only got through 11 laps.
Yeah, I'd say probably like 20, no, not 20, like 16, like anywhere from lap 15 to lap 17 is probably ideally where you want to go, because obviously it's a lot easier for tyre wear on lower fuel, which they will be at the back end of the race. But Fat Cat still holds on to the lead, even with the pit stops. So we'll see who can get those tyres warmed up quickest.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a crucial factor, although I don't really see it being that difficult to do so. And also, we were talking about the clouds earlier and how they were looking pretty menacing. Now they're looking anything but. They are looking pretty nice as of right now. So weather not likely going to be a factor in tonight's proceedings, but Jonno is actually now pretty much now right in the wake of the Haas ahead. And these two have done battle in so many different teams, in so many different races across the seasons. And now Jonno's got the DRS, he's got the speed. He's just going to slingshot on through in the Scarlet Machine. And that is Jonno back up into P1. But Fat Cat is definitely not going to make anything easy for the reigning champion. He's going to stay pretty much tucked in right behind him and really just trying to make him sweat bullets. That's going to be his main mode of operation here. The Fat Cat did lose a bit of time coming through the final corner. And now they're going to go through the pinwheel. It's going to be interesting to see. A bit further down the field, Chandler's now trying to make his way past. He's on a bit of a recovery drive, but he will have to pit in again, because I don't think those meters will get him all the way to lap 28. If they do, I'll be extremely impressed, but he might at that point, like, he might want to consider a soft tire. Maybe depending on when those mediums give out, or maybe take another set of mediums, go for a two-stop potentially. It could work. It'll be not optimal, because obviously the one-stop is going to be your optimal go-to in pretty much any situation, almost any track. But I mean, we have seen stranger things happen here.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously with the tyre wear being a factor, it wouldn't surprise me if some people are going to the two-stop, just going into the faster tyres so they can use those tyres and not have to worry about that tyre wear. But Chandler's, I just watched him have a little bit of a slide coming onto the back straight, and he is in a bit of a train. So we'll see if he can get the move done. He's going to dive to the inside of Aiden as Raiden locks up a little bit. He's going to be able to hold on to it. Aiden's going to send it back up the inside, get the switch back. But it looks like Chandler's got that move done. nice and easy. So good move from Chandler's there.
Good move indeed, and now we are pretty much at the end of the first half of this Chinese Grand Prix, as drivers are now making their way on through the pinwheel. Jonno's really started to try to build that gap out. He's trying to keep Fat Cat at least at arm's distance. He would, he would love to see Fat Cat just kind of scamper off into nowhere, but that is definitely not going to be the case here. He is going to be pretty much chasing Jonno like he's a ball of yarn as they make their way through Sector 2. It's so difficult to follow because of the dirty air coming off the back of the Ferrari. And this is a battle for the net race lead, as Gangster and Ryan are the two top cars at the moment. Neither one in DRS range of each other, neither one having pit yet. Although we'll probably see it called here in the next couple of laps for these two. As Fat Cat. Oh, and here's Sick Party getting a 3-second time penalty. Surprised we haven't seen more of those in this one, but Sick Party getting a bit too wide or a bit too tight on one of these corners. Take your call. But I mean, it is expected though, as Fat Cat does make his way back past Jonno. They swap positions on the DRS back straight. And then I feel like we're gonna see this as quite a pattern until the later stages of this Chinese Grand Prix. Just watching these guys trade these positions back and forth like a game of heads or tails on who's gonna lead the lap. As Chandler's now is gonna try to send it up the inside, but a switchback on the pinwheel. I can't say I've seen that one too often, Buzz. What a retake from Aiden Israelin.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Because it could be tricky to hold onto the stability of the car through that turn, and he did a good job of it, and is holding on to the position from Chandler's, who was on the faster tires, but those tires will be starting to not be as good as the hards, but because I've definitely seen a few drivers lose the car on the exit of turn 1 into turn 2, and clearly not happening to Aiden. Absolutely incredible move.
Exactly that. So I mean, you got to give Aiden his flowers sometimes, because he can make some really impressive moves, and he can have some really strong drives like we're seeing here tonight in China. Let's take a look at some positional changes here real quick. It is well, Ryan and Gangster, you can take that with a bit of an asterisk because they still need to make their pit stop. Chandler's is a backup 12 position, so he's having a really strong race here tonight. He does need to make another stop though. Jonno does have the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and he's going to chase down Fat Cat all the way through the pinwheel. And he'll close the gap in here pretty nicely, in fact. So he's going to go ahead and just pretty much tuck right in. And that is really good following coming through that pinwheel. It can be sometimes difficult to follow through the pinwheel as well because of that dirty air, but he stayed close enough and just maximized the cornering speed, and he was able to stay pretty close to the back, although trying to get that overtake done is going to be easier said than done. Unlike for Flubber though, because Flubber made an overtake seem really easy, but he has lost that position again to Chandler's, as we do have a really good fight here for P5, the final slot in this top 5, being fought out for by Aiden, Chandler's, and Flubber, which this position that they're fighting for right now might just turn into a podium in about 8 laps time, I would say. Maybe. We'll see. It's still going to be all to play for. These guys are all still going to give it their all. But, like I said earlier, it's racing, so anything can really happen. As Jonno and Fat Cat going side by side. Jonno jumping into the net lead of the race. And he will be back into P3 on the road, which will soon turn into P1 once his teammate and Gangster make their pit stops.
Yeah, and right on cue there. They have made their pit stops. So we'll see where those two come out, probably pitting just at exactly the right time for going to the mediums. But watch out for those guys coming back through the field on the fresh mediums. So they're going to come out in P10 and P12. So we'll see what positions that turns into by the end of the race.
Yeah, as Vettel now tries to get the move done on to Symphonic. The two fighting now for P14 on the road. As now we see Pop Top Bongo in 1 to Navy trade positions. Pop Top back up into P7. Now he's trying to chase down Dito. Trying to regain as many positions as possible. It hasn't been the greatest weekend here in China for Pop Top. It would start strong and then in the race or sprint he would just have some kind of incident. I would see him drop down the order quite a bit, but he is recovering pretty nicely. But he is still down 4 positions from where he started. And that's the tricky thing about China is that it's so hard to really pull away from anybody. So you're almost always going to be in this DRS train for a good portion of your race. Chandler's now trying to chase down Flubber, but Flubber is in DRS range of Aiden is Raiden. So you are really going to have to try to find some extra nugget of pace and consume it to really try to fight for these positions. Because nobody's going to give it to you easy. But honestly, it feels so much better when you get that position based on just fighting hard. Flubber now trying to make the move on to Aiden is rated for a podium spot. He's going to try it, but he is going to really... Oh, he might try to get around the pinwheel, but once again, you got to get side by side to somebody in the pinwheel to try and overtake here. You can't... It's very rare to see somebody go into the pinwheel behind and end up getting the overtake. You just got to be side by side, pretty much almost right on the entry if you have any hope of trying to overtake there.
Yeah, and well, we missed it, but Chandler's got a 3-second penalty for too many warnings, and he's now looking like he's on the back foot now with the older medium tyres. He's probably going to have to pit again. In fact, not probably. He most likely will have to pit again. So that damage that he got, having to change to that front wing, is costing him in this race.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be really, really careful here as well. Those penalties do not care. You'll get a penalty for breathing incorrectly sometimes. That's just how pretty much right on the ball. Oh, that's a massive look at it from Andre, having a big snap coming through. I believe that is turn 10 at the end of sector 2. I was watching the battle between himself and Mazza battling out for P14. But now we jump our way back up towards the front. Watanabe is still trying to chase down Dito. As Dito, okay, they're going to get past Chandler's, who is coming into the pits. I think he'll probably jump onto another set of mediums, and Mazza is out, and that's a safety car. Oh, VSC safety car? VSC.
I think he's crashed on the main straight. On the back straight, his car was stranded in the middle of the track. I don't know if that was a tire on track. I don't think so, but I think he might have crashed on the back straight. So I don't know how he's managed to do that, going in a straight line. So maybe contact and sending him wide off into the wall, then bouncing back onto the track. But Mazza, he had those two. He had to start on the back row in the sprint and the main race, so not the best weekend for him.
Yeah, I mean, it does bring up the question on how do you crash on a big straight, but yeah, there's so many factors that can come into it. I mean, touching grass could have also been a factor, but I think it's definitely probably what you said, and we're back racing, just as simple as that. Less than 10 laps to go. We are back racing here in Shanghai. And honestly, I agree with you. I think it was just some kind of contact that put him in a wall. Oh, actually, no, I am hearing that it is a manual retirement on track is what I'm hearing now. So that'll be on investigation by the stewards. But one thing we definitely won't have to look into is Fat Cat getting the move onto Jonno. That is a pretty simple pass, pretty clean, pretty standard. He had the speed and the DRS coming through the back straight, and he got the move done. But Jonno there looking for a retake. Gonna go ahead and try to look for it here, but he's not gonna try to risk it all. He's still got about 9-ish laps to go. Actually, closer to about 8 laps to go as it sits right now. And he's going to try to get things to cooperate, but it is so hard to follow. But you really don't need to make the move because you don't get any points for finishing first on lap 20 out of 28. You got to get it done on lap 28 itself if you want those maximum points. If Jonno wants to keep the streak alive. Speaking about this man like he's the Undertaker from WWE, but that's essentially what it seems like. Just burying the hopes of other drivers who are trying to get this championship or even have a championship fight.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just looking like these two are swapping just about every lap. And, you know, it's just like that. Just like the bad guy in those horror movies, you know, they just keep coming back. You know, every time you think this race is chilling out a little bit, you'll come back up the front and they'll be side by side, or one will be diving up the inside. So these two, incredible respect for each other, I want to say as well. But their fighting has actually got Aiden's Raiden and Pop Top Bongo to. Aiden was in the DRS for a little bit, but back out of it now. Their fighting has clearly brought those two back into play.
Oh, hang on. Oh, we have a Alpine spun around on the back straight. And it is Chandler spinning it around. Andre gets past, no issue there. I didn't even see any contact for Chandler, so curious to see how that spin out happened. Maybe just a bit too much, throttle coming out of the 14 maybe, or 13 maybe? Yeah, I don't, oh, he's missing an end plate, or no, he's got both end plates, so I think that might have just been a self-spin there. But yeah, to kind of bring over your point, I think we're going to start calling this man Jonno Afton, because he always comes back, or whatever the FNAF thing is. But yeah, he's pretty much always right in someone's rear view mirror, or just ahead of him. So Jonno still trying to close it in to Fat Cat, really just trying to make sure he can line it up for a last moment pass here at the end. Take a look at some tires real quick. As we can see, pretty much everybody within the top 7 are on the hard tires of varying ages, but both are all drivers in the top 3 on those 9-lap-old hard tires. So no real tire advantage to help out Jonno in this case, but he is still going to go ahead and give it everything like he has all season. From one Ferrari to another, Ryan gets to move on to Watanabe just before the DRS zone. And he is actually going to get DRS, but even with the DRS, Watanabe was catching for a bit, but then he falls right back off. Going to go hard on the brakes coming into 14. And then we're going to actually see Aiden's Raiden up in P4, trying to fight Pop Top Bongo for that final podium spot. They're going to go ahead and scrap it out. Pop Top trying to hold the inside. Aiden gets it done around the outside just before the pinwheel. And that was best case scenario, but look how close they're getting. Just look how close these two are getting. A bit of a bump there for Aiden is Raiden. That pops up a little bit of wheel banging, but they're going to go ahead and get through. Same thing with Ryan there and Dito going side by side through the pinwheel. We're seeing some really punchy battles here in this upper part of the field, and actually Pop Top is having to run a bit wide to try to keep Aiden behind and try to back him up into his teammate Flubber, because those two could really start working together really nicely to try to maximize points for Mercedes here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw in Div2 with the Astons working together nicely to work their way through the field. So maybe Mercedes taking a page out of Aston Martin's book, but Mercedes won team of the week for Vegas, so looking to make it 2 in a row. Looking pretty solid from both of them right now, but there's some weaving going on to try and break the slipstream from, I think that's Flubber. No, it's Pop Top Bongo. Sorry, that's my fault. But the top 2 again, Fat Cat and Jonno, still fighting away. Jonno tried to look for a move on the inside of the final corner, had to get out of it, and they are really close. again in this race.
Yeah, it's going to be another battle throughout the pinwheel, and it's going to be tight. It's going to be closed. You cannot put anything between these cars. You can't even fit a fortune cookie in between these cars with how close these guys are getting. Jonno, though, will retake the lead, and it's going to be just, oh, it's going to be so tight. But there's so much rivalry between these guys, but it is a rivalry of mutual respect. These guys are great friends off the track, but bitter rivals on it, as they're going to continue to fight it out, and they are just really matching each other step for step. It is like we are watching Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen in 2021, minus the controversial safety car, as Fat Cat is now trying to really close it in and try to stick it to Jonno. But Jonno's got a bit of a better exit, but we're also on this back straight where that huge DRS zone is, so it's going to be a really good chance for Fat Cat to really try to make something happen here, trying to retake that lead. He's closing, slingshotting on by. Jonno going to respond. He's going to try to stick it tight up the hairpin. And he is going to hold on to that position as we are just about to cross the line for 5 laps to go here in the Chinese Grand Prix. And it has been pretty much cinema all throughout the field. We got this fight here that's about to take another turn, and into the grass goes Fat Cat. And he will lose out again to Jonno. A very optimistic look onto the runoff. But sometimes you can gamble it all like we did in Vegas a week ago. But sometimes you just land on snake eyes.
Yeah, that was a interesting attempt from Fat Cat to stay on the inside there, as we have seen a few drivers have successful overtakes, actually just hanging around the outside in the turn one. Because eventually that does become the inside if you're going to hang on long enough. So I'm surprised he didn't even try and go for it there. But Jonno playing great defense and clearly forcing Fat Cat into an overtake that he probably doesn't want to have to make it so awkward. Sorry. But these two are still fighting away, but Fat Cat might have made a few mistakes there and might not even get DRS. I think he did though, still just hovering around that 1 second gap right now.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's gonna come down to, right? It's gonna be a battle of margins here, and to quote a famous movie, whether it's by an inch or a mile, winning is winning. And I think it's gonna come down to just mere inches between these guys here tonight, as it's 4 to go here in the Chinese Grand Prix. Fat Cat's already trying to make a move. Trying to make a move around the other side this time. Not trying to go onto pretty much the runoff near the start-finish line. And actually just behind them, a similar battle is happening between Pop Top, Aiden, and Flubber. They're all really close to each other here in the rest of the top 5, as they're all trying to battle for this final podium spot. Mercedes looking pretty strong here tonight. Ferrari also actually looking pretty good, considering that Ryan Adair started from the back of the grid just about. Taking a look at some positional changes. Ryan Adair is up 11 positions. Jonno up 3. So Ferrari is definitely looking very, very, very strong here tonight. As now we're going to see Fat Cat really try to close things in here. Try to close it in to Jonno, but Jonno is always a very, very strong driver, so it's going to be easier said than done to really keep that gap, or trying to really keep that gap within the 1 second margin. He'll be able to do it, but I mean, you really got to be within about 3/10 to really try to make an overtake on any of these straights. I mean, you can get close, you can shake for a move if you're about 7/10 back, but you really need to be within 4 to really try to make a solid move here. Fat Cat though, now he is well within that range, so he can make a really good run here to try to get a good overtake. Going onto the flat part of the track, you can see the dust kind of flowing off there as they go through, and it is 3 laps to go here.
Yeah, this is This is far from over, this one, because obviously the top two have been fighting it out, and the rest of the top five as well fighting it out in their own little battle, with other little battles happening for some lower tier points. But as you said, 3 laps to go, or about 2.5 for the leaders. And Fat Cat, if Jonno keeps putting on good defensive moves, Fat Cat might have to get a bit creative with it and maybe look to send up the inside of that turn 4 hairpin, or into the section of the racetrack where they are right now, because you can make a move there if you get a good enough run and use battery. So, because it's looking like this is the only opportunity for an overtake on the big long straight. So maybe if Fat Cat can try and send up the inside at a place where Jonno doesn't expect it, he might be able to get through. So this race is far from over, but we'll see what happens.
There's only about 2 laps left, as we're going to see Fat Cat try to send it around the outside, but no room for him. The door is slammed shut, and he is going to continue to try to fight things out here. There's only 2 laps to go, but these are going to be 2 of the longest laps of Jonno's life right now. And now he is going to go ahead and try to hold off here. Fat Cat really trying to make moves, trying to make things go around. And actually, I'll go ahead and let you take the rest of this lap, and I'll take the final.
All right, no worries. And here is that turn 4 hairpin. He is going to set up the inside. It locks up slightly. Good respect there. All of them, bit of contact. They both have a little bit of light on the exit of the corner into the fast section now. Fat Cat has to take a slightly wider line because Jonno is still on his inside. And so we'll see who can get the better exit out of this section here onto this little straight before the snail section onto the main straight. But Fat Cat knows that the warning lights are on. He's going to have to start making moves, getting creative, whatever it may be. Not many opportunities left for him now. There's going to be a massive opportunity in a couple seconds time at the end of this straight. He has DRS. He's probably burning battery. Is he going to go for a move? He's going to dive it up the inside and is ahead. B locks up slightly. Can he hold on to it? And Jonno's going to go for the switch back, the up and under there, side by side on the exit. Who's going to take the lead onto the final lap? It's going to be Fat Cat. He has a little bit of slide on the exit, but it's going to be a 1-lap shootout between these two. Take it away.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a fight to the end. Jonno going to go around the outside, try to send it through the pinwheel. And here's the thing, though. The outside becomes the inside. So, bit of contact between himself and Fat Cat. This is going to be pure cinema as we go ahead and try to decide who is going to be our winner here. This is going to be the main event. This is El Clasico. Jonno and Fat Cat, Ferrari and Haas, Italy versus America. They are all absolutely doing righteous battle here, as now they flow through Sector 2, making their way. It is so hard to follow, but Fat Cat is keeping Jonno within his sights. He's got him in his sights. He is not going to let him go easy. And now you pretty much got one more opportunity, because the run into turn 1 is not going to give you anything, because there's a short run, a bit of a break lock up there from Jonno. The battle right by them is going strong as well, so that'll be a fun one to check out after we get through this one. And it is make or break. Will the streak live? Will the streak die here tonight? Fat Cat closing in. Jonno watching his mirrors. Is it going to be a move? Oh, he's going to try to send it around the outside. Is Fat Cat going to get it? It's going to be late on the brakes for Jonno. He's going to hold on to it. It's going to be close. It's going to come down to whoever gets this corner better. It's going to be Jonno. He's got the corner better. It's going to come down the line. Jonno wins the Chinese Grand Prix. The streak lives. Pop Top gets a very nice last minute pass to round out the podium. And that was a battle of margins. You could have not gotten much closer, as there are some end plays that do fly off right there at the end. Gangster rounding out the top 10. And Big Jamie's actually been DNF'd. So that's a bit of an odd
Ooh.
one. He might have crashed right on the start finish line, so I don't know if that will actually count for him. But Andre has left the session right as he comes across the line, so now it's going to be a fight between Vettel and Connor for position. And Connor gets it ahead of Vettel. Webb and Symphonic now will be the last two drivers to come across the line. But man, that was a beautiful last lap battle between Jonno and Fat Cat.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible to watch. And I was just looking at both their battery on the last lap, and Jonno had about 20% more the entire lap, and that looked to be the beneficial factor for him, and that's probably why he managed to hold on to the win there, and great confidence on the brakes for him as well to send it back up the inside when Fat Cat had his nose ahead. But an incredible fight the whole way through that race it was as well. I think they had DRS on each other the whole race. So interesting.
The streak lives for now. Jono still, he has won every single event that he has jumped into, with the exception of the Bahrain Sprint. And ever since the Bahrain Sprint, everything he has entered, he has won. So we're going to run through as a pro this real quick. Fast lap does go to Symphonic. Drive of the day, Chandler's. Most overtakes Ryan, and Symphonic also cleanest driver. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Grand Prix results. It is going to be Jonno ahead of Fat Cat, Pop Top Bongo, Aiden is Raiden, Flubber, Ryan Adair, Watanabe, Dito, Gangster, Sick Party, Chandler's, Andre, Connor, Vettel, Weber, Symphonic, and then the retirements of McJammy, which I don't know if that will still count because he DNF'd over the line, Mazza, and Coda rounding out the field here tonight. So without any further ado, we're going to jump straight on into the interviews. But once again, man, that was such a beautiful, beautiful race here tonight. I mean, China could usually go either way. It could either be really exciting or just kind of a drag, and we got the former for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only the battle for the lead there, but we saw Pop Top and Aiden as Raiden side by side coming over the line as well. So, and also a lot more battles happening further down the field. So people have to stay locked in until the very final centimeter.
Exactly that. And I mean, what a drive from all these guys here. I mean, it was just absolutely beautiful stuff to see here. As I'm working to get our interviewees in, as I just put the message out now. So we'll see if we can get our interviewees into the commentary booth to go ahead and get a quick chat in. And we have one of them anyway. We do have the championship leader and race winner. The streak is still alive for Jono. We'll see if we can get anybody else. We'll give it a few. Um, I think we're going to at least get Fat Cat, and then we are still missing our P3. So,
Just Pop Top Bongo.
yep, and there
Oh,
we
there
go.
we
We
go.
got him now.
Just waiting on
Uh,
Fat Cat.
we'll see if he joins. But in the meantime, I'll let you go ahead and kickstart our interview with FST Bailey, better known as Pop Top Bongo. Over to you.
All right. On Pop Top Bongo, bit of a roller coaster weekend for you. Obviously, you qualified well on the front row, in fact, for the sprint, but then you had those two mistakes. I want to say on the first lap. Was that all that screwed it up for you, or was it a little bit further in the race as well that affected you?
Um, I touched the curve, the spawn, and that was just my fault there. That's probably what slowed me down and put me so far back in the sprint. Um, and then in the race just then, uh, at the hairpin, I got a bit. I don't know what happened. I'll have to look at it, but I think it was the Alpine. Kind of went down the insides. Scared me a little bit. I wasn't sure that he was there or not. So then I came out around the final corner. I just lost the rear a little bit. I mean, just my fault. Just yeah.
Yeah, we definitely saw that one on the stream. Looked like you were about to crash into the wall. But my final question for you is, um, was how stressful was it fighting with Aiden? That it would seem like the whole race on a scale from 1 to 10, a 10 being very stressful, one being really chill. What would you? How stressful was that?
Um, Probably all on my side, but also it's more like I didn't know what he was wanting to do, what he wasn't wanting to do. I knew that maybe waiting for the last lap would be smarter, but like yeah, I wouldn't say it was stressful. It was just yeah, just racing.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Well, no more questions for me. I'll give you over to Rekus.
All right, you had a pretty much an up and down weekend here today, but you did round it off with a podium. It is a gap week here this week, and then we head to Saudi Arabia. How do you feel going into Jeddah about 2 weeks from now? Last season it was a 100% race. This time it's business as usual.
I'll feeling the same. I mean, this race I I liked, but I was surprised about the pace. I guess. Um, Jeddah I like as well, but I'm not too sure what will happen.
And now coming into China, was this a track that you felt confident that you could do good at, or was today kind of a shock for you?
No, I didn't think I'd do good. Um, I didn't do much practice either. I looked at the time trials earlier today, and I'm like, I'm a little bit off. Maybe a top 10 would be nice for this one.
Yeah, so it was really fun watching you fight there, and I mean, just talk to us a little bit about that probably extremely fun and probably a little bit stressful three-way battle you had right there at the end.
Yeah, it was fun. Obviously, I stayed out a little bit longer because if I was gonna get undercutted, then I would like to pit and then have newer tires. Honestly, I probably could have stayed out one more up, but it wouldn't have mattered. At the end there, I was thinking I'm not gonna go for Jonno or Fat Cat because they're already 2.4 something ahead. So let's just focus on Aiden. Um, I think what didn't help is Flubber had worse tires, potentially. So uh, mainly Aiden was the concern, but I saved my battery and managed to hold him off. We did a little move into the hairpin. I wasn't too sure if there was a touch, maybe. I don't think so. I'll have to look at that. I hope not.
All right, well, once again, congratulations on the P3, and we'll see you 2 weeks from now in Jeddah. Enjoy the break.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna go from P2 or P3 to P2 as we do have Fat Cat now in the session in the VC. So, Fat Cat, you fought to the bitter end for that Grand Prix win. How do you feel?
Yeah, fine, really.
It was a really tough battle between both you and Jonno. So, just talk to us a little bit about your thoughts there.
Yeah, just a few slippies on the exit. Uh, Great from Jonno overall.
All right, last question before I pass you back over to Muzz. We are heading to Jeddah in 2 weeks' time. You feeling confident about that track, or do you think there's work to be done?
We'll see when we're there.
All right, straight to the point. All right, without any further ado, congratulations on the P2, and I'll pass you over to Muzz.
All right. Fat guy, I've got one question for you. How do you find it racing Jonno? Do you have good respect for him, and do you think he has good respect for you, or do you think you're going tooth and nail, and it can get a bit spicy sometimes?
I think the second bit of what you said summarizes it perfectly. Bit of spice.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Well, good job. Unlucky to not quite get the win, but good job to be right in there and fighting, and good luck in the next race in Jeddah.
Thank you, sir.
All right, last but most certainly not least, we do have our Sprint and Grand Prix race winner. And we'll go ahead and let Muzz take away the first round of interviews with Jonno. Over to you.
All right, John, I've got one question for you, just like I did with Fat Cat.
Yep.
Um, do what do you find at racing Fat Cat? Do you think he has good respect for you, because it was you were fighting basically the whole race? Do you think it? Do you enjoy battles with him, or do you think, oh no, here comes Fat Cat?
No, there's definitely respect on track. We'll fight hard with each other like we always do. But well, yeah, basically just that. Really, it's just fighting hard with each other, but still making sure, we're not, tire hooking or something like that. So we kept it pretty clean, I'd say.
Yeah, it was definitely looking like that. Yeah, good job on the win. I'll give you 2 Rekus.
All right, Jonno, you are still currently on your personal streak of winning every event that you've partaken in, aside from the Bahrain Sprint. How does it feel to have such a commanding lead in this championship so far?
Yeah, I mean, feels pretty good, right? Nothing to complain about. So yeah, it's pretty decent so far.
Do you think you can keep it up in Jeddah in about 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, I think I can. I think I can. I'm really hoping I can. But Jeddah, it's not really a good quality track for me, so I kind of got to work on that. But yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes.
All right, last question before I go ahead and let you go. Is there anybody you'd like to give a special thanks or shout out to here tonight?
I definitely like to thank Lamb because definitely because he helped me out in the sprint. Once his medium tires were kind of gone, he let me go, so I appreciate that. And then I appreciate Fat Cat for the battles, so the race wasn't as boring. So I really like that.
All right, well, congratulations on the sprint and Grand Prix victory, and we'll see you 2 weeks from now in Jeddah, and enjoy the break.
Thank you.
Alrighty then, that's going to go ahead and wrap things up here in Div1 for China. Another sprint round in the books. And before we go, Muzz, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, just incredible race. So hopefully that can carry through all the divisions this week, because that'll be interesting to see. So we had great racing in Vegas, and then great racing here in China. So hopefully good racing in all the divisions, but we will have to wait and see.
Indeed, we shall. So there is a break week coming up, and we will be taking this next week off due to the real life Australian Grand Prix happening. So that should be a lot of fun to watch. But before then, we still got 4 other divisions of Chinese sprint racing action here. We got tomorrow for Div 2, so be sure to go ahead and tune on in for that. Should be another really good race. It's been a really spicy championship in Div 2. So we'll see how things all play out there. But that's going to go ahead and wrap things up here in China. I want to give a special thank you to Sim Racing Center, SimLab, Pagnian, and AI369. all of our very, very, very fantastic sponsors, and of course, you guys all in the Twitch chat. You guys are awesome as always. And on behalf of Muzz and on behalf of Rush Racing League, my name is Patrick Coleman, aka Rekus, and we have been your hosts and commentators for tonight's Grand Prix and sprint racing action here. So tune in next time when Div 2 takes on China, and then tune in 2 weeks from now when Div 1 heads to the streets of Jeddah for round number 8. Stay hydrated, be safe, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.